Welcome to the main project of this channel. Well, for now at least. To the uninformed, this may look very strange and, well, yeah it is. This is a 2003 Subaru Baja, a little ute thing made for the American market from 2003 to 2006. It didn't really do that well at the time. I mean, this was apparently one of their ads. Half truck? Ignored? Broken? Oh wait, never mind. Whoever designed this really didn't do that great. But that's besides the point. I've been in the market for quite a while now, trying to find a good car to take on as a little fixer-upper, daily driver / beater. Okay, maybe not the beater part. I've known about the Baja for quite a bit now, and once this exact one popped up on Kijiji, I've been fixated on it ever since. After a hefty $4,700 purchase, it may be more than I bargained for. So, go grab your paper Baja and let's get into it. Now, despite hailing from Quebec apparently, on the outside and from afar it looks pretty good actually. The odd choice of black and red looks a bit weird, but I quickly grew to like it. Or at least put up with it for now. I can't really say the same things for the rest of the car, however. It's been sitting in a lot for a couple of months now, but at least it's been started weekly, which is good, I guess. It has some small wiring issues. The check engine light is on, the low fuel light is on, with the needle not moving. The ABS light is on, the OBD port works only on its off days, one of the front headlights doesn't work, the tailgate handle likes to stick, while the gimmicky license plate holder folder thingy doesn't do the folder thingy. There's some moisture buildup under the rear seats, some of the trim is falling off, partly due to rust. This thing is loose, I have no idea what it's for, but thank you Rust. These door handles stick. You can't properly lock the driver's side door from the outside. The AC blows but not cold. The power steering doesn't function, and the rust. Oh boy, the rust. And probably a bunch of other things that I'm just forgetting to mention right now. And that will most likely reveal themselves later on. There's some questionable wiring, but for now it seems to be doing okay. Now, for those who are more familiar with this car, you may notice that something strange is going on with this particular one, as this color scheme is not actually a factory option as far as I know. You could get it in black granite pearl with silverstone metallic claddings for the 2003 run, but red claddings only came after when they switched over to primarily monotone schemes, from my understanding. So why did I buy this vehicle if it has so many problems? Well, it's simple really. I just wanted to work on a car. One that I would like to drive, and the Baja checked those off for me. Also, when it comes to the Subaru Baja, this thing has gained itself a cult following in the past couple years, and as such there are forums online that detail things about the car and what to look out for, which will come in very handy. In addition to that, this is a Subaru from 2003, and around that time Subaru liked to reuse a lot of parts amongst their fleet, including the EJ251 engine found in not only this car, but certain Legacy and Outback models. What this means is that parts are not going to be nearly as hard as you may initially think to find, but given everything, driving on the streets is not a great idea for the time being, and I still need to fix some things before I get to safetying the car. So I quickly made a rough list of priorities to get through. First things first is to find the issue with the power steering, then we can deal with the general maintenance, including fluid changes, belt changes, and such. Dealing with the check engine light comes after alongside the brakes, headlights come next, and some initial rust prevention / cleanup, with interior and miscellaneous following suit. These old quote-unquote summer tires have seen quite a bit of wear, but luckily we have a fresh set of leftover winter tires from my brother's 2011 Subaru, which was totaled while parked, but that's a story for another time. There's one slight problem. I am working out of the garage of my parents' house, and we don't have all the tools I'll be needing, and that rust is definitely going to require treatment eventually. Also, I'm working on somewhat of a smallish budget for this car, but those are issues that will need to be addressed sometime down the line, but for now, we take this in small incremental steps. Now, what am I doing? Well, just an initial inspection of everything that works, barely works, that is damaged, or is broken just to confirm what I need to do. The bulk of this was done at the dealer beforehand, and we did have it briefly checked by an auto shop, but it's always a good idea to look things over in case something was missed. It also gives me a bit of time to soak in with this decision. Just try everything that you can think of, see if the features work, and surprisingly, a lot of them do in this car. Once that's done, I can start diagnosing the problems with the power steering. And with that, we have... Something doesn't seem right here. There should be a belt connecting the compressor over here for the AC. That isn't present, so we'll just buy a new one. And it's probably due time to replace the other belt as well, so might as well do that. Now, getting those in, something still doesn't feel right, but we can just... Oh wait, yeah. There's an entire bracket and idler missing. Okay. Just like that, we are setting this aside for the time being, but it's a small part, so we can probably check a local junkyard for it. So, putting everything together, it's time to continue diagnosing the power steering issue. From what I can tell, the pump itself seems alright, and the pulley felt smooth, so let's check elsewhere. I would like to explain what I'm doing in more depth if I knew what I was doing. You see, it also doesn't help the fact that the issue stems from the steering wheel only being stiff like half the time, alternating between perfect and stiff. Anyways, this time, with what I probably should have checked first, the reservoir. From the outside, it looks pretty full, and that it is. Although I don't know if I can trust that fluid that's in there right now. So, going out to a Canadian Tire, we pick up some fluids for the car. I plan to flush the power steering fluid, but the return hose is too stiff. I plan to flush the power steering fluid, but what I believe is the return hose is too stiff to take off. So, filling and emptying the reservoir will have to do for the time being. We'll just repeat that a couple times until we reach a desirable result. And to speed things up, we can run the engine to cycle the fluid. Run the engine to... Well, that's no good. Turns out I left one of the interior lights and the cargo light on overnight, and that was enough to drain the battery. Nothing serious though, we can just jump the car and that should fix everything. It did not. Alright, time to diagnose this. Now, it's either the battery has given up or the alternator is bad. This can be tested by first seeing if the battery can hold its charge just above 12 volts. And when running, does it jump upwards to 13 to 14? From there, we can then move to checking the alternator for a similar value. We could continue to jump until the battery is full, but I'd rather not do that when it is down to around 11 volts at the moment. So off to buy a cheap trickle charger, and we can plug that in and let it sit. But before doing so, I can still attempt to diagnose the issue. And after jumping it this time, I noticed that the battery just instantly starts draining, while the alternator is only measuring less than 3 volts. Not good. Honestly, it may be both parts given the age, but I want to make sure, so we'll need to check if the battery will hold its charge. And if I did everything right, once I disconnect the charger, the battery should come to rest at around, let's say, 12.4 volts. And sure enough, that it does. Nice. That's one less thing to worry about, but since the battery is good, that means that the alternator is most likely the culprit. Now, when I'm taking it out, I notice that the connector here has some rust built up. So I give that a bit of a clean and the car starts, and voltage on both components are good as well. Cool, maybe I don't need to... The alternator stopped working again. Looks like we need a new one. However, buying a new one can be a bit pricey. So instead, we hit up some local junkyards and I'm able to pull off a pretty decent alternator and the tensioner for the compressor belt. all for a fraction of the cost. Nice. Throwing those in, we can finally test this thing. And just like that, after roughly $400, we are back to square one. Well, a bit more, but you get the point. And now that the engine is running, we can move on to changing that old oil. And good thing we did, because this is dark. At least it's not a sludge, but it's about time. Using a less conventional way of unscrewing the filter, we finish up the job, and I noticed that whoever did this last left an old crush washer on while putting a new one, causing a very slight leak. Anyways, with that resolved, I guess that's fixed. I'll take it. And with that done, there really isn't much else to do for the time being, so we'll cap things off by giving it a good wash. Next time we'll be going through with installing the new power steering among some other things, and hopefully get closer to getting this car back on the road. Anyways, thanks for watching this slightly scuffed project, but hey, if things go as planned and no surprises pop up, we should be done in... and there's a leak.
That has power steering fluid in it.